You are watching as Broadview Police respond to a 911 call, claiming someone was tampering with a gate at the ICE detention facility there. Body camera footage obtained by the CBS News Chicago investigators shows several Broadview police officers respond to an alleged homeland security threat.
Do you believe that that was a false call?
I do.
Again, it was just our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building.
All right, let's talk ICE, shall we? You know, the agency that is supposed to be tasked with enforcing immigration law, but instead can be seen pepper spraying protesters, body slamming elderly people, and now orchestrating stings on unsuspecting neighborhoods. New reporting has emerged exposing how ICE agents in Chicago have been using fake 911 calls to trick local police into assisting their raids. According to reports in the New Republic, they staged emergencies, pulled city cops in, and then dropped in. You know, less enforcement, more espionage.
And today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Local outlets have described a pattern in which ICE agents called in things like a supposed gate breach, claiming someone was tampering with a fence, summoning local cops who, when they arrived, found absolutely nothing. So the rationale seems pretty obvious here. Lure police in to lend the appearance of local complicity and cloak a federal operation in legitimacy. Broadview Police Chief Thomas Mills was blunt in his response, stating, quote, "It's disturbing. It's ridiculous." He said his department has been drained by repeated calls from ICE that appear to be bogus. One responding officer on body camera footage said, quote, "It sure doesn't look like anyone's forcing anything in any fence over here." Mills has further warned that if these calls are indeed false, they may constitute a criminal offense, saying, quote, "It's actually a violation of law. It would be classified under disorderly conduct, filing a false official report."
Yet again this week, we saw nauseating footage of ICE raids around the country, with perhaps the worst happening in Chicago, where federal agents handcuffed a city council member, tossed a tear gas canister onto a busy street near a school, and raided a whole apartment building, turning apartments upside down. And the details of that raid are grotesque.
Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Wow. Fuck them kids. That is completely unacceptable coming from a federal fucking agent who has zip-tied children. The one glimmer of hope has been the strength of the pushback from local communities around the country. There have been widespread protests against ICE, and some of them very funny, from someone dancing in a giant frog costume outside an ICE detention centre in Portland to a protest outside Chicago holding up this excellent sign which read, "I fucked two of you on Grindr, parentheses, pretty sure," which is very good.
And the thing is, the American people, they're also catching on, right? Poll after poll shows that ICE's credibility is cratering. A Quinnipiac poll found 56% of voters disapprove of the way ICE is doing its job, and that includes 64% of independents. In a recent Pew Research poll, 54% of Americans disapprove of the administration increasing ICE raids on workplaces. And recent YouGov data showed that ICE's favorability is underwater across the board.
He also says that you are profiling, that you're targeting black and brown people, even those who turn out to be here legally. What's your response?
Well, first of all, the black people in Chicago are thrilled that we're getting the illegal aliens out of their communities who are stealing their housing, jobs, and resources.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher said she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no, I didn't.
She said she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen App video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Watson says budget trucks and military-style vans were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it, cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
And I mean, in popular culture, it's got so bad that even the country music bros are distancing themselves.
Didn't wake up, dead or in jail. Some out-of-town boys been giving us hell. I got some bad news. I woke up missing you. My friends are all degenerates, but they're all I got. The generational story of dropping the plot. I heard the cops came. Cocky motherfuckers, ain't they? And ICE is gonna come bust down your door. Try to build a house, no one builds no more. But I got a telephone. Kids are all scared and all alone. The bar stopped bumping, the rock stopped rolling. My middle finger's rising and it won't stop showing. Got some bad news, the fading of a red, white, and blue.
With the message loud, right? Even in places where political alignment is assumed to be conservative, the tactics of ICE are being questioned. So when stories like this emerge, right, with ICE caught playing slick games with local police using taxpayer money to take them away from real police work, which in turn puts the community at risk, it's clear why more than half of Americans are saying that they disapprove.
You would also, I would hope, not deny the fact that the judge who ruled against the deployment to Oregon is not some lefty. She was a Bush-appointed U.S. attorney. She was on Ken Starr's team. And I love this. I just, love a good quote when she's talking about what's going on in Portland and how you can actually look at the footage and see that it's on one square block and it's not like the mess everyone portrays it to be, similar to what happened in L.A., that Trump's deployment was simply untethered to the facts. The Trump administration is getting pushed back left, right, and center. The American people are saying no to this, and the court system is saying no to this. You have judges who have been appointed by every president from Reagan up until Donald Trump and Joe Biden himself saying, you cannot do this.
No, you don't.
Chicago journalists are
right now in
suing.
Chicago
Journalists are suing DHS for having excessive force used against them. And I know you love a good poll. I'm going to lead the A block with it. CBS. Trump is now -10 on immigration, 58% oppose using the National Guard, 70% of independents, 61% oppose using active duty military in our American cities. They are trying to militarize the country. And he says, and Caroline Levitt echoed it today in the press briefing, well, he just wants to work together. He's not picking up the phone and calling J.B. Pritzker. He's saying, I'm coming to take your cities. And that's what he told all of the generals last week when he had them assembled.
What are the Democrats in that poll?
What? In that poll, that's not how an answer.
What's the Democrats'
58% opposed using the National Guard is not about Democrats.
They're like 20 points below what the Republicans are, but that's okay.
That's actually not true in this poll. It's 40% versus 32% approval, I think.
The public is losing trust, not just in ICE, but the administration that empowers it.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.